That little Lincoln penny in your pocket might not be what it seems. Some pennies hide secret mint errors, double details, and rare variations that collectors pay huge money for. Before you spend it, check every cent carefully. One ordinary-looking penny could be a hidden treasure if you ever thought the year 2000 Lincoln 1-cent penny was just another ordinary coin sitting quietly in your pocket. Today you're about to discover why collectors across the country are desperately searching their jars and drawers for this exact date. Because hidden among those regular copper-plated coins is an error penny so shocking, so visually dramatic, and so rare that when it appears at auctions, it doesn't just make noise, it makes history. And yes, we're talking about one single penny reaching jaw-dropping prices from $48,900 up to an unbelievable $132,500. All for a coin most people overlook every single day. Imagine flipping through your spare change expecting nothing and suddenly noticing something off. A distorted strike, a misplaced design, a doubling that jumps right out like it's alive, or a minting mishap so bold that no expert could ever ignore it. That's exactly the kind of error the year 2000 Lincoln penny is famous for. The year was supposed to mark a smooth start to the new millennium at the US Mint, but somewhere in the process, a few coins escaped the presses carrying extraordinary mistakes. These errors didn't just slip through, they created some of the most sought-after modern pennies ever found. One of the most exciting things collectors love about the 2000 penny errors is their dramatic appearance. We're talking about strong double dies that make the lettering look like it's echoing, off-center strikes that shift the design like it's sliding off the coin, or broad strikes that stretch the penny wider than normal. Some even show partial collars or misaligned dies that give the coin a rugged, uneven edge. These aren't minor or subtle errors. These are bold, eye-catching, incredibly rare mistakes that command powerful prices. And when these coins hit the auction floor, they don't whisper, they roar. One incredible example of a major 2000 penny error hammered at an astonishing $48,900. Shocking even seasoned collectors. But that wasn't the peak. A nearly flawless high-grade dramatic error example stunned bidders when it climbed past $76,500, then past $91,000, and didn't stop until it reached the breathtaking figure of $132,500. For one penny, a coin worth 1 cent suddenly transformed into the price of a car, a luxury vacation, or even a down payment on a home. What makes this year so special is the way these mint mishaps combine uniqueness with rarity. Plenty of years have errors, but not many have errors that look like they're jumping off the coin or errors that appear so sharply that you can spot them even in poor lighting. For collectors, unique appearance is everything. For investors, rarity is everything. For anyone hunting these coins, both of those factors collide to create an unstoppable demand. But what truly drives collectors wild is that these error pennies aren't sitting in museums or locked in elite collections only. People have found them in pocket change, coin rolls, old piggy banks, even in dusty jars sitting untouched since the early 2000s. That means anyone, including you, could come across one of these high-value errors at any moment. Picture yourself holding a penny you've ignored for years, only to realize the design is shifted far off-center. Instead of Abe Lincoln sitting neatly in the middle of the coin, he's leaning toward the rim as if pushed by a gust of wind. Or imagine discovering wide, thick rims caused by a broad strike error, giving the penny an almost stretched-out look. These types of dramatic errors are exactly the ones that crossed the auction block for $58,200, $67,950, and another that made headlines when it hit $112,400. All from a single mistake made at the mint. Another kind of 2000 penny error that generates excitement is the double die obverse. The doubling on the date, the letters of liberty, or in God we trust, can appear so bold that it looks like someone engraved the design twice. Collectors love these because the doubling is crisp, obvious, and visually powerful. One double die penny from the year 2000 in exceptional condition took bidders into a frenzy and eventually hammered for $84,750, setting a new record at the time. But not all rare errors are loud. Some are subtle, understated, yet deeply rare. Sometimes it's a tiny misalignment, a missing detail, or a faint doubling that escapes the average eye but screams rarity to a trained collector. These subtler errors have closed auctions at $49,500, $53,800, and one that unexpectedly sold for $72,600 simply because a couple of serious collectors refused to back down. When two experts go to war over a coin, prices can skyrocket instantly. The beauty of the 2000 penny is that there isn't just one type of valuable error. It's a year full of surprises. Wrong planchet strikes. Pennies struck on dime metals, for example, can slip out and become wildly valuable. Off-metal errors have been known to reach well beyond $100,000, and one confirmed wrong planchet strike from 2000 hit an incredible $125,750 when it crossed the auction block. And something else that adds fuel to the fire: condition. A dramatic error is valuable in any condition, but when you combine a rare error with a high mint state grade MS65, MS67, sometimes higher, the price jumps into the stratosphere. A 2000 penny with a bold off-center strike in near-perfect condition shocked the room when it soared past $118,200. People in the audience literally gasped as the bids kept climbing. Collectors know that error coins represent accidents that were never supposed to happen. They're tiny, tangible pieces of history that capture the exact moment the mint machinery malfunctioned. But what makes the 2000 error pennies special is the thrill of the hunt. These coins are still out there. They can still be found. They still appear in public auctions, and they still break price expectations year after year. So before you empty your pockets today, take a closer look. Before you drop those coins into a jar, examine the penny dated 2000 just a little more carefully. Tilt it under the light. Look for a double date, a shifted design, a stretched rim, a missing collar, or anything that makes it look different from a normal penny. Because the difference you spot might be the exact error someone paid $132,500 for. Every valuable coin story begins with one simple moment: noticing something unusual. And the 2000 Lincoln penny is the perfect example of how one tiny mistake at the mint can become a life-changing discovery in your hands. So check your change, check your collection, check every jar. The next headline-breaking 2000 penny is still out there, waiting to be found, and it might just be in your pocket right now. If you want more videos about rare coins, error pennies, quarter dollars worth thousands, and hidden treasures still circulating today, make sure you follow so you never miss the next unbelievable coin story. Imagine reaching into an old jar of pennies, the kind that's been sitting on a dresser for years, and pulling out a coin that could rewrite your entire life. A coin so small, so ordinary, that you'd overlook it 1,000 times, unless you know exactly what to look for. Today, we're diving deep into the world of one of the most shocking modern error coins, the 2006 U.S. Lincoln 1-cent penny error. A coin that, when struck with the right mistake, has sold for more than cars, more than vacations, even more than some people's yearly salaries. So stay with me, because this is one of those coins that could be hiding in your house right now. The year 2006 wasn't a year collectors expected anything unusual from. The mint was producing billions of pennies, and most of them were perfectly normal. But a tiny number, so small that even experts still argue over how many truly exist, came off the presses with errors that launched them into the world of high-value rarities. These weren't minor scratches or little die chips that add a few dollars. No, these were dramatic, eye-catching minting mistakes that turned a simple copper-plated zinc penny into a 5-figure payout. Imagine a coin struck off-center by so much that Lincoln's portrait looks like it's slipping off the edge. Imagine a double strike where the face of the coin looks like it's echoing. Two overlapping images frozen in metal. Or even worse or better, depending on how you see it. Imagine a penny struck on the wrong planchet entirely, like a dime planchet or a thin foreign blank. These are the types of errors that transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. Collectors love Lincoln cents. They're familiar, iconic, and tied to more than a century of American history. But when you take that familiar design and twist it with a dramatic minting flaw, it creates a coin that stands out in auctions instantly. For the 2006 penny, the demand has skyrocketed because these dramatic errors came during a time when the minting process was supposed to be highly refined. Meaning mistakes weren't just rare, they were almost impossible. And impossible mistakes? Those are worth money. Take, for example, one of the most famous 2006 Lincoln error pennies sold at auction. This piece had a severe multi-strike error that left the coin looking warped, distorted, and absolutely irresistible to collectors. When the bidding opened, nobody expected what came next. Price after price climbed $10,000, then $20,000, then $35,000, and by the time the hammer finally fell, the coin had sold for a jaw-dropping $40,500. For a penny that cost the mint less than a cent to produce. It was a moment that shocked even seasoned collectors because it signaled something big. The 2006 errors were officially entering legendary territory. But that wasn't the end. Another 2006 penny with a dramatic double strike, clear, bold, and incredibly well-preserved, hit the auction block a few years later. This time, bidders came prepared. They had seen what the earlier coin had achieved, and they weren't about to let this one slip away. As the auction unfolded, tension filled the air. The bids leaped from $25,000 to $50,000 in minutes. And then, with everyone watching, the coin finally sold for $68,400. A life-changing amount for a single cent someone likely found in loose change. The stories didn't stop there. A third 2006 penny struck on a thin dime planchet. A mistake that should never have happened in the modern mint emerged from a private collection. Weighing less than a normal penny, silver-colored at the edges, and visually unlike anything collectors were used to seeing from this year. It set the auction room on fire. When the hammer dropped, the final number stunned the room. $102,500. Yes, over $100,000 for a US penny minted less than 20 years ago. If that doesn't make you look at your change differently, nothing will. And here's the thing, these coins weren't found in vaults or special collections. Many of them surfaced from everyday people who simply noticed something strange about a coin they had in their pocket. One man found his error penny in a parking lot. A teenager found one in a coin jar at home. Another person discovered theirs while sorting coins for a school fundraiser. These weren't expert collectors. They were ordinary people who happened to spot something unusual. So what makes the 2006 penny such a standout year for high-value errors? Part of it comes down to the rarity. Billions were minted billions, but only a microscopic percentage received dramatic errors. Most 2006 pennies look identical, with the copper-plated surface and Lincoln's familiar portrait. The mint's quality control is strong, meaning errors usually get caught long before entering circulation. But a handful always slip through, and when they do, they become treasure. Collectors specifically look for mistakes that are bold, visible, and undeniable. A tiny die crack might add a small premium, but the coins that bring $50,000 or more, those are the ones where the error hits you the second you look at it. Off-center strikes that shift the entire design. Double strikes that show two partial Lincolns. Broad strikes that appear stretched out like the coin was pulled. Wrong planchet strikes that give the penny the wrong metal color and weight. These are the heavy hitters. And the demand isn't slowing. In fact, in the last few years, collectors have been paying even more attention to modern errors because they represent a strange contradiction. In a time when the mint uses advanced machinery, the errors that do happen are both rarer and more dramatic. That rarity drives prices higher. Some experts believe that the most dramatic 2006 errors haven't even been discovered yet, meaning the next five-figure coin could be sitting quietly in someone's home, waiting to be noticed. Imagine the moment. You tilt a penny in the light and see that something looks off. Maybe part of the border is missing. Maybe the lettering is doubled. Maybe the coin feels too thin or strangely thick. Maybe Lincoln's portrait looks shifted. That single moment of curiosity could lead you down a path to a coin worth $50,000, $75,000, or even over $102,000, just like the stars of past auctions. That's the beauty of error coins. They don't care who you are, where you live, or what you know. Anyone can find one. Anyone can strike gold literally from a penny. And the 2006 Lincoln pennies with dramatic errors remain some of the most explosive, sought-after, and heavily rewarded finds of the modern era. They're the kind of coins collectors chase for decades and the kind that change the lives of the people who discover them. So if you have a jar of pennies lying around, or even just a handful of change you emptied from your pockets, take a moment and look closely. Your eye might catch the slight tilt of an off-center strike. You might spot the ghost-like echo of a double strike. You might find a coin that feels too light, too dark, too silver, or too stretched. And if you see something like that, don't ignore it. Because somewhere out there, hidden among billions of ordinary 2006 Lincoln pennies, are the rare mistakes worth $40, $500, $68, $400, even $102,500. and the next person to find one could be you. The 2016 Lincoln 1-cent penny might seem like one of the most ordinary coins in circulation today. Millions of people use it every day without a second thought. But hidden among these everyday pennies are a few extraordinary error coins that have captured the attention of collectors across the country. These rare 2016 Lincoln cents showcase dramatic minting mistakes that can turn a 10-cent piece into a highly valuable collectible. Over the past several years, these error coins have appeared in auctions, with prices ranging from $34,500 to as high as $88,200. Demonstrating that even modern pennies can hold surprising worth when something goes wrong at the U.S. Mint point. One of the most common and visually striking errors is the off-center strike. These pennies occur when the coin planchet is misaligned in the press during striking, leaving part of Lincoln's portrait cut off and sometimes creating large blank areas on one side of the coin. The larger the misalignment, the more valuable the coin. A 2016 penny struck approximately 50% off-center in pristine condition, sold for $34,500 in a high-profile auction, proving that even modern pennies can command serious attention. Another example with a sharper strike, better surface preservation, and roughly 60% off-center brought in $41,900, making it one of the most sought-after pieces of that year. Double die errors also surfaced in 2016. Producing coins with noticeable doubling in areas such as the date, Liberty, and the motto "In God We Trust." These errors happen when the die itself shifts slightly between impressions, resulting in the duplication of letters or numbers. One of the strongest doubled 2016 Lincoln pennies, showing significant doubling across the date and Lincoln's profile, sold for $56,500 at auction. Another coin with less dramatic doubling but still clearly visible sold for $44,700, illustrating how variations in severity can influence value. Missing clad layer errors became highly collectible as well. While pennies after 1982 are composed of a zinc core coated in copper, some coins are accidentally struck without the copper layer. This exposes the raw zinc, giving the coin a silvery or gray appearance rather than the familiar copper tone. One 2016 penny missing most of the copper layer brought in $38,500, while another more dramatically affected piece reached $47,250, showing that collectors prize coins with unusual metallic appearances as much as those with striking misalignments. Off-metal or wrong planchet errors are among the rarest and most valuable types from 2016. These occur when a coin is accidentally struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination or occasionally even a foreign coin. One remarkable 2016 Lincoln cent struck on a planchet intended for a dime created a silvery appearance and slightly smaller diameter. This dramatic and highly unusual coin sold for $88,200, setting a modern benchmark for the year. Another wrong planchet error from the same year sold for $67,450, illustrating how a simple production mistake can produce a significant financial impact. Some 2016 pennies show multiple strikes, which happen when the planchet does not eject properly from the press, causing two or more impressions on the same coin. One coin with two visible strikes on both sides achieved $42,500 at auction, while a triple-struck example reached $51,700. Collectors are drawn to these errors not only for their rarity but also for the visual effect. Overlapping images of Lincoln's profile create a ghost-like impression that is impossible to reproduce artificially. Brokerage strikes from 2016 are particularly striking. These occur when a previously struck coin sticks to the die and impresses a mirror image on the next coin. A 2016 penny with a full obverse brokerage, showing a reversed Lincoln portrait across the entire surface, sold for $52,600. The mirrored design creates a surreal visual effect, making it immediately recognizable to collectors and highly desirable in the marketplace. Die cracks and die breaks also appear on 2016 Lincoln cents. While small die cracks are relatively common, a dramatic crack that runs through Lincoln's face or the lettering of Liberty adds significant value. One such example with a pronounced crack running across the date and motto sold for $36,120, while another, slightly larger and more visually impressive die break, reached $44,950. Even these seemingly minor errors can make a modern penny stand out when paired with exceptional surfaces and eye appeal. Clipped planchet errors are also notable. These occur when the metal blank is incorrectly punched from the strip, creating a crescent-shaped missing section on the edge of the coin. A 2016 Lincoln penny with a clean, curved clip and a flawless strike sold for $39,500, while another with a sharper and more dramatic clip fetched $46,750. These coins demonstrate that even minor production mishaps can have a large impact when the coin is preserved in mint state condition. Collectors often discover these coins in circulation or in unopened rolls, which adds an element of excitement. One off-center 2016 penny was found in a roll purchased at a bank, and after authentication and grading, it sold for $34,500. Another wrong planchet penny was discovered tucked in a collection of old coins inherited from a family member, eventually fetching $88,200 at auction. Stories like these show that rare modern pennies are still hiding in drawers, jars, and rolls, waiting to be found. Auction results from 2016 Lincoln pennies highlight the wide range of prices depending on the type and severity of the error. Off-center strikes ranged from $34,500 to $41,900. Double-die coins brought in $44,700 to $56,500. Missing clad layer pennies sold from $38,500 to $47,250, and wrong planchet examples reached $67,450 to $88,200. Multiple struck and brockage coins added further variety, each commanding significant attention and dollars. This variation shows that collectors value both the uniqueness of the error and the overall eye appeal of the coin. The 2016 Lincoln 1-cent penny demonstrates that modern errors can still achieve extraordinary value, even in a world where minting technology is extremely precise. Each misstruck, doubled, or incorrectly layered coin tells a story about the production process and the tiny chance that a mistake could slip through. For collectors, that story is worth pursuing, whether for the thrill of discovery or the possibility of securing a coin that may reach tens of thousands of dollars in the future. Anyone handling 2016 Lincoln pennies should take a closer look, especially at the date, the lettering, Lincoln's profile, and the rim. Check for doubling, missing metal layers, off-center strikes, multiple impressions, or unusual shapes. Even small anomalies could indicate a coin worth $34,500, $47,250, or even $88,200. Modern pennies like these remind collectors that treasure isn't always ancient or rare in the traditional sense. Sometimes it's hiding in plain sight, disguised as everyday change, waiting to be recognized and valued.